The story of Princess Sid revolves around a 16-year-old girl, Sid, who goes through a journey of self-discovery when she visits her estranged aunt, Miranda, in Chicago. Sid is a talented soccer player, and Miranda is a famous author. Miranda attends the event of her book release, and after going out for drinks with her friends, she receives a call she needs to take. Miranda speaks with Jason Laughlin, Sid's father, who thinks it would be great for Sid to visit Miranda because they have been fighting a lot, also because Sid has been showing interest in some colleges located in Chicago. Miranda is happy to receive her, although she suspects Sid might get bored with her. Jason tells her that it will only be for a couple of weeks. Miranda is okay with that and is ready to receive Sid as soon as possible. Miranda doesn't know what to expect from Sid's visit and is rather troubled by that. Sid says goodbye to her boyfriend and friends before she travels to Chicago. Miranda chuckles when she sees how much Sid has grown. Sid is happy to see her aunt and excitedly enters her home. Sid settles in a small, cozy room. Miranda shows her a little corner where Sid can relax and read books, but Sid tells her she doesn't read. Miranda is surprised by that, unable to believe that people who don't read exist, but she thinks she has wonderful books that deserve to be read if Miranda is willing to give them a chance. Sid sits down on her new bed and asks if Miranda has Wi-Fi. Miranda gives her the name, Ralph Waldo, and the password, Hawthorne 1850. Both the name and the password include names of writers, and 1850 is the year when The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne was published. One thing is clear, Miranda is obsessed with writing and books, while Sid doesn't care about them at all. Miranda tells Sid to settle down and rest. The room she now occupies actually belonged to her mother, and Sid finds that comforting. Miranda is happily preparing sandwiches for lunch. She asks if Sid is vegetarian when she sees the face she is making. Miranda apologizes and tells her she will make something else for her, but Sid is only teasing her. She is not even vegetarian. Sid laughs at Miranda's hilarious reaction. Then, she goes outside to discover the beautiful garden outside Miranda's house. It is full of blooming flowers and pretty plants. Miranda and Sid eat lunch on the porch. She asks Sid about her future plans to study in Chicago. Sid tells her that it depends on where she can get a scholarship. Miranda tells her about the different colleges Sid could apply to because she also occasionally teaches at one of them. Sid awkwardly asks Miranda about how her books are going. Miranda tells her about her new novel, In the Dawn, which she has been promoting lately. Miranda is surprised to learn that Sid is interested enough to ask about the story behind her book. The novel is about a woman named Jacqueline, who, on her 50th birthday, starts to become extra sensitive to the sun, and that affects her entire life. Miranda gives her a short description, thinking that Sid would not be interested in knowing the whole story. Still, Sid tells Miranda she can tell her everything that happened in the book because she is not going to read it, so she might as well let her know about all the details. Miranda tells Sid that she depicted an exaggerated case of photophobia in her novel. When Jacqueline, her protagonist, researches the phobia, she discovers that it dates back centuries in her family and that its name is actually Aetha Avestheia, which comes from a Greek god. Sid tells Miranda that it means she writes fantasy novels, but Miranda disagrees with that and tells her that although her work has metaphysical and spiritual themes, it is considered realism. Sid is not convinced by that and tells Miranda that it sounds like fantasy to her. Miranda continues her story and tells her that Jacqueline travels to Greece to discover more about her condition. Sid spends her first night in her mother's old room. She remembers what her father told her about discovering where her mother came from. In a way, Sid is like Jacqueline. She is also trying to learn more about the past. She goes running in the morning, and when she is out, Miranda receives a visit from Anthony James, her friend who is also a writer. She tells him that after the tragic shooting, she didn't see Sid before now. Sid was 8 when her mother died. Miranda and Anthony have a conversation about his book. They have opposing opinions, but they try to work it out. In the meantime, Sid doesn't stop running, no matter how tired she is. She is lost in the city, so she enters a cafe to get directions to her aunt's neighborhood, Ravenswood. A young barista, Katie, tries to help her. Sid smiles at her and thanks her. Before she walks out of the cafe, Sid turns around to look at Katie one last time, and Katie catches her staring. Sid returns to find Miranda and Anthony arguing over the ending of his book. Miranda introduces Anthony as an old writer friend of hers. He laughs at the description, not liking it, then Miranda changes it. She tells Sid that Anthony is a Pulitzer Prize-nominated writer friend of hers. He is also a well-respected journalist and a writer of nonfiction. Anthony thanks Miranda for her help before he leaves. Before Sid takes a shower, she finds an old picture of her mother with Miranda. Sid looks at it closely, longing for her mother. Miranda takes Sid out for dinner. The place where they dine used to be Miranda's family's favorite spot. Miranda and Sid's mother used to go there at least once a week. Sid asks what the deal is with Miranda's friend. Miranda tells her that she and Anthony attended the same university years ago, and they became fast friends. Sid asks her if there might have been any romance between her and Anthony. Miranda laughs at Sid's question and asks her why she thought of that. Sid is curious to know because Anthony seems nice and he is handsome. Miranda tells Sid that he is technically married. Miranda is interested to know if Sid has a boyfriend. Sid replies by kind of confusing Miranda, who asks her to elaborate. Sid and the boy have been hanging out. She tells Miranda that his name is Josh. At the dinner table, a fan approaches Miranda and asks for her autograph. Sid watches their interaction curiously, realizing how important her aunt is and how inspirational her work is for others. Miranda and Sid dance to the rhythm of Irish folk music. Sid finds the whole experience amusing and laughs like she has never before. On the way back home, Miranda tells Sid about how much she misses writing fiction. She continues walking and talking, not realizing that Sid is no longer by her side. She had stopped to pick up a book she found, which is one of Miranda's novels entitled Valley of Their Shadows. Miranda thinks Sid should read it. Sid opens the book before she goes to sleep, and finds that every chapter is given the title of a first name. In her room, Miranda picks up a book as well and reads it. Sid enters Miranda's office and asks her to put sunscreen on her back because she is about to sunbathe in the garden. She asks Miranda if she ever wished to move away to other cities. Miranda does not have to think much about that and tells her it never crossed her mind. Sid rests outside in nature and listens to music peacefully. She closes her eyes and lets the tunes inspire her. Miranda watches Sid from the window and chuckles alone, feeling old and boring. Miranda goes outside for some fresh air. Sid tells her that she is not bothering her and invites her to lay out with her. Miranda tells her she does not think she even owns a bathing suit, so she probably should not join her. Sid lets Miranda know that she looked through some of her stories. Miranda is glad to hear that. Sid thinks that all her characters seem to be stuck in their own head, and they are either single, divorced, or drifting away. Sid's point of view seems to surprise Miranda because Sid mentioned details she did not pay attention to when writing the book. Sid also thinks Miranda writes about religious people. Miranda asks her if she thinks religion, as a theme, might be a hindrance to her because she does not know about Sid's religious views. Sid tells Miranda that she does not go to church, and that she found her portrayal of religious people interesting, because she didn't know that there are people who take religion so seriously. Miranda tells her she is one of them. She goes to the Lutheran church. Miranda does not believe in regular things religious people believe in, like heaven and hell. She believes in grace and a complete meaning somewhere. Sid does not understand her point and asks her about the difference between her and an agnostic. Miranda believes in the existence of a great unknown somewhere. Sid gets to the point and asks her if she thinks they will ever get to see her mother again. Sid looks at Miranda for an answer. Then, she tells Miranda her mother didn't believe that. Miranda does not know what to say, so she looks down. Sid returns to the same cafe, hoping to find the barista she spoke to before. At first, Sid finds another employee there, but soon later, Katie comes out and smiles at her. She recognizes Sid as well. Sid tells Katie she is from South Carolina and she is visiting her aunt. Sid takes her coffee, and before she leaves, Katie tells her that her shift is about to end in 10 minutes, if she wants to hang out. Sid waits outside the cafe. When Katie finishes her work, she finds Sid and the two awkwardly hug each other. Sid and Katie go for a walk. Sid tells Katie she has been exploring the city ever since she came to visit her aunt, who is a writer. Katie is surprised to know the identity of Sid's aunt. She can't believe it because Miranda is a big deal. Sid thinks Miranda is cool, but it is strange that she has been living in the same house she grew up in. Katie has her own apartment. She got it when she hit 18, and she resides with her brother. Sid shares personal information with Katie as well and tells her that after her mom died, her father moved to South Carolina. Sid and her father do not get along because he is always home and super depressed. Katie takes Sid to her apartment, where they find her brother and his friend Tab. He comes out of the room and picks Katie up, and spins her around. Katie does not find his action acceptable and struggles to distance herself from him. He only puts her down when Katie's brother screams at him. Sid is weirded out by what happened and greets him cautiously. To get away from Tab, Sid follows Katie to her room and sits on her bed. Katie changes her clothes in front of Sid, and she tells her to look if she wants to. Sid ends up looking at Katie's body. Back at home, Miranda finds an old bathing suit hidden behind piles of clothes. She looks at it and decides to wear it to sunbathe in the garden. She listens to the sound of wind rustling through the trees and enjoys her alone time. Katie takes Sid to the roof, where they can be alone. They find a couple of people shooting a film on a balcony, which they think is really cool. Sid asks Katie about what she wants to do in the future. Katie's job in the cafe is only a temporary thing before she figures out what she wants to do with her life. Sid shares with Katie that her passion is soccer, and Katie thinks that is hot. Sid shyly looks at the ground, not knowing how to reply to that. The filmmakers call for Sid and Katie, asking if they would be willing to play the role of background actors because they need a boy and girl slow dancing. They assume that Katie is a guy, and before Sid jumps to correct them, Katie agrees and asks for their instructions. The filmmakers tell them they need a convincing couple who look madly in love. Katie takes the lead, and the two start dancing. Sid and Katie look at each other, feeling something special growing between them. Sid tells Miranda all about her beautiful adventure. Miranda is also proud of herself for sunbathing, and Sid is happy to hear that. Miranda tells Sid that they are supposed to attend a soiree which happens on the second Friday of every month. Academics, writers, and her church friends all attend the event, where they eat, drink, and tell stories. Sid asks if Katie could come to the soiree, and Miranda thinks it is a wonderful idea. Once inside her room, Sid having one person on her mind. Miranda and Sid sunbathe together. They talk about the soiree, and Sid is interested to know if Anthony will be there. She is bothered by Miranda's non-existent private life and thinks she should see more people. Miranda is shocked by Sid's straightforward question and tells her that she sleeps with people sometimes. When Sid pushes her to tell her who with, Miranda needs a minute to think because she can't remember. Indeed, it has been forever since Miranda has been intimate with anybody. After Miranda broke up with her longtime boyfriend, she gave up dating and has not thought about sleeping with someone in a long time. Sid reveals to Miranda that she wants to sleep with Katie. She asks Miranda for help because she doesn't know how to do it. Miranda laughs, not knowing how to answer that, and advises her to Google it, which makes Sid chuckle. Miranda reveals that Sid's mother had a fling with a girl before. Sid is surprised to hear that and feels even closer to her mother. A creaking sound makes Miranda and Sid jump up. Ridley, the gardener, is shocked to see Miranda freely out there in her bathing suit. She forgot that he was coming, but she told him to do his thing. There is no denying that Ridley is a handsome young man, especially after the way Sid eyes him while he is working. Miranda thinks that is funny, so Sid hides and looks the other way. Miranda experiences a moment of self-reflection, where she stands in front of the mirror. She smiles at her reflection and caresses her skin, feeling more alive than ever. Sid and Katie meet again in her apartment. She tells her that Tab moved in with them, and she is not happy about that. Sid seeks Katie's help because she does not have anything to wear, so Katie suggests that she wears her tuxedo, which she wore to prom. Although Sid laughs at first, she decides to give it a go. Sid feels confident in the tux. She sits on Katie's lap, and the two share a passionate kiss. Sid asks Katie if she is sure she doesn't want to go to the party, but Katie is positive. Anthony runs some errands for Miranda and notices that she looks nice. Miranda is happy to hear his compliment. Anthony helps Miranda in the kitchen and asks about Sid. The latter is walking back home with her suit and she feels at the top of the world. The soiree has started, and the guests have already showed up. Sid opens the door, and all eyes are on her. Miranda thinks Sid's outfit is perfect. She introduces her to everyone. Sid observes the people around her having a great time. Miranda picks a flower and attaches it to Sid's jacket because she doesn't want the guests to mistake her for a caterer. Sid interacts with Miranda's friends and feels more and more comfortable around them. At the party, Sid meets two women who reveal to her that they are a couple, and one of them is Ridley's mother. They were both married to men and are now happy together. She is curious to know all the details about their relationship. One of the women asks Sid what she is into. Ridley waits for her answer. Sid tells them that she likes everything and giggles. Katie finds Tab alone in her apartment. Her brother had gone out on a date with a girl he met at work. Tab tries to start a conversation with Katie, but she does not look comfortable speaking to him. He wants to hang out with her, but she clearly does not. At the soiree, the guests tell their stories and read poems that fascinate them. They listen to each other, laugh when something is funny and joyful, and meditate when something personally touches them. Each one of them has a unique voice and view of the world. Miranda's turn comes, and she decides to read a passage from Ralph Waldo Emerson's book about how rare it is for some people to truly see nature's worth, because most are unable to. Sid hears this and sits up, paying attention to Miranda's reading. Sid smiles, loving what she is hearing. At that moment, Ridley hints that he and Sid meet upstairs to smoke. Sid follows Ridley, distracting Miranda, who stammers on her words. Sid and Ridley have a laugh as they smoke. They are sitting close to each other. Ridley leans over to kiss her ear, and then they start making out. Miranda comes up to Sid's room and hears what the young ones are up to. Before she knocks, Sid apologizes to Ridley because she wants to stop what they are about to do. Miranda is mad at Sid, so the latter goes outside to get some fresh air, and she finds Anthony doing the same thing. She tells him Miranda said he was technically married. Anthony is separated from his wife, and he explains to Sid his situation. She asks him if he would ever consider dating Miranda. Anthony chuckles, and at that moment, Miranda opens the door and asks if he wants to grab some leftovers to share with his son, putting an end to their conversation. Sid receives a text message from Josh. He tells her that he misses her a lot. Sid has been ignoring him ever since she arrived in Chicago. Sid sends a text to Katie asking if she is okay but receives no answer. She finally decides to call her to make sure she is doing fine. Sid apologizes to Miranda, telling her that she enjoyed the soiree. Miranda is more annoyed by the smoke, and Sid tells her that it won't happen again. Miranda thinks Sid should have more cake because it is delicious, and before Sid leaves the kitchen, she tells her that if she slept with someone once in a while, she would not want to eat all the time. Sid's remark creates tension between them. Although Sid tries to apologize for what she said, Miranda decides to give her a piece of her mind. Miranda finds satisfaction and fulfillment in doing different things in life. She is not like Sid, so she does not experience joy in doing the same things as her. Not everyone is the same, people are of different shapes and ways, and their happiness is a unique experience because there are no rules of balance. Miranda thinks Sid should not feel sorry, they should enjoy themselves and respect their differences because that is what makes them special. In her room, Sid receives a text from Katie where she is asking for help. Sid calls Miranda in a panic, and she drives her to Katie's house. Miranda insists on going up with Sid to see the matter with Katie. The latter is surprised to meet Sid's aunt for the first time under these circumstances. Sid hugs Katie and notices that she is hurt. Tab is passed out in the living room. It turns out that Tab had entered Katie's room when she was peacefully reading a book. Although she tried to kick him out, he went inside without her permission and tried to force himself on her. Miranda is appalled by what happened and urges Katie to get her things so she can stay with them. Sid faces Tab, knowing what he did to Katie. She cries, wondering what it feels like to be her. Tab wakes up, and his nose is bleeding because Katie punched him to defend herself. Sid puts her hands on Tab's neck and starts squeezing it. Miranda tells Sid to stop, but she wants to hurt him. Miranda takes Sid away, and they all leave the house. Sid invites Katie to her room. Katie tells Sid that she has read most of the books on her bookshelves, and Sid is surprised by that because she thinks Katie does not look like a reader. Katie finds that amusing because what does a reader even look like? Katie finds one of the books she has read in middle school and is surprised to learn that Miranda wrote it. It is called Princess Sydney. Sid recognizes the book, but she can't believe that Miranda wrote it. The book has her name on it, and it is dedicated to her mother. Sid shows Miranda the book she found. She remembers how her mother used to read it to her before she went to sleep. Sid thinks Miranda named the protagonist of the book after her, but Miranda tells her to check the date. In fact, it is the other way around. Sid is named after the character. Sid and Katie rest on the bed and think they should do whatever they want before Katie goes back to her apartment again. They spend the entire day at the beach, playing and running. They are having the time of their life, and they urge Miranda to join them instead of reading books all day. When they go back home, Sid and Katie go to her room to take a shower. They start taking off piece by piece, and are finally able to be vulnerable together. They kiss, and that leads to them sleeping together. From the other room, Miranda hears them and laughs secretly. Sid reveals to Katie that she had a brother, Devin, who was 12 years older than her. He had a lot of mental problems and would often fight with her parents. They contemplated sending him to military school, but that never happened. One weekend, Sid's father was away, and after she went to bed, her mother and brother got into a bad fight. Then Katie can't believe what happened to Sid's family. Sid was so young that she did not know what was happening and slept through the whole shooting. The neighbors found her mother and brother before she saw anything that would traumatize her. The fact that Sid shared this story with Katie is a sign that she trusts her. Katie hugs her, feeling sorry for what Sid went through. Sid and Katie accompany Miranda to a special event organized just for her. Miranda is supposed to answer questions about her work and sits in front of an audience. The host asks Miranda where her ideas come from. Miranda does not have a straightforward answer for her and finds it difficult to reply to such a question. Miranda is honest. She says that her ideas come from her. Miranda's fans express how much they find her work engaging and inspiring. Her books remind them of real people and deal with personal things. Sid raises her hand and goes to the mic to speak. She tells the audience that Miranda is her aunt, and she wants to ask her about her greatest pleasure in life. Miranda does not think much and answers with cake. Sid smiles broadly. Miranda, Sid, and Katie go to a party Anthony organized. The three women look extremely joyful for the first time. One of Anthony's neighbors takes their picture together. Anthony tells Miranda that she was right about the remarks she had given him about his book, especially the ones they argued about. Miranda is happy to hear that things worked out well for his book. Anthony flirts with Miranda, but she only smiles. A woman comes up to Anthony, and Miranda instantly picks up the chemistry between them. Miranda asks him if there is a possibility that they might end up together. Anthony momentarily thinks and tells Miranda that anything is possible. This answer seems to give Miranda a reason to think about what might happen. Sid thinks that Katie should visit her sometime in South Carolina. Katie is flattered by the invitation and takes it seriously. Sid does not care about what her father might think. Anthony's son comes up to Sid and Katie and asks them if they are girlfriends. Sid and Katie look at each other, and Sid tells him they may be. Anthony's son thinks that is cool, and he runs to his friends to confirm their suspicion, amusing the girlfriends. Sid goes back home and is warming up for soccer practice. Miranda calls her to check on her. She is at the beach, and Sid is happy to learn that Miranda is happy. Miranda tells Sid that she misses her and that she loves her. Sid is overwhelmed by Miranda's words and is driven to tears. Sid reciprocates the same feelings and tells Miranda that she loves her as well. Miranda brightens Sid's day with the beautiful phone call. By the end of the movie, Sid is a changed person. She now feels loved and appreciated, and is encouraged to achieve anything she wants. Her future seems bright and hopeful.